But you do not have the ability to set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM. You've got to turn your frequency, you've got to tune your frequency to what you want, which means you have to be willing to let go of some of the conversation. It's like, have you ever known, Jerry has talked to Esther, he had a lot of life before they came together. And he was in the circus as a teenager, and then he was in show business for years, and he was on the road constantly and surrounded by all kinds of different people. And he spoke frequently about the roughness of the environment and how he readied himself to protect himself. He was very fierce. He knew that there could be those who would come to fight, and he had to be ready for it and to give it everything he had when it did come. And for a period of his life, there was hardly a day that he did not have an altercation and come to physical blows with someone in his quest to make the world a better place. After all, don't you make the world a better place by beating the hell out of anyone who's trying to do the opposite? So we want you to focus just for a moment on, and maybe you've had the same experience, where you actually come to this place of this physical action or altercation. And haven't you noticed that when things really come to blows like that, when there's action, physical action involved, that it's going to get way, 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 way worse before it gets better? And what we're suggesting is, in your mind, just make a mental decision that rather than moving into that fist fight or that nuclear war or whatever it is, just draw back from the action of it. Just draw back from the action of it and just stay with us for a moment. Feel the diffusion of it. In other words, can't you feel the diffusion of the battle when even one pulls back? So now, that's a diffusion of resistance, which is the beginning of allowance. There's resisting who you are and allowing who you are. So now, continue with your verbal dialogue. And haven't you noticed, have you ever been in a discussion with someone with whom you disagreed? Have you ever been able to talk them out of their position? Doesn't it just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger? The surer you are, the surer they are, and the surer they are, the surer you are. Now, there's a universal law behind that, because whenever you know what you don't want, you know more clearly what you do want. In other words, it's parlaying up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But we're just saying, and we know you've noticed, that verbal battle never gets resolved. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, it usually leads to the physical stuff if you let it go far enough.